So, Group A then of the Dominic Smith Electrical Senior Football Championship. The 6 teams in it are St Anne's, Sarsfields, Glynn-Barntown, Halfway House, Bunclody, Crossabeg-Ballymurn and Castletown, and we'll go through them one by one, I suppose. First of all, St Anne's are managed by Doc O'Connor again. I'm reliably informed they have no absentees, so maybe a full crew to pick from. Darragh, obviously St Anne's, another team that's very hard to beat on every day.
Exactly, look, we've faced St Anne's a lot over the past few years, and similar enough, I think the last time we played them, I think it was a goal fest. I think we got 3 or 4 goals up in Belfield when we played them. Managed to get over the line that night, but St Anne's, as you can see in the hurling, like, they're always a dogged team to get by, always hurling and football. But like when you have the likes of D. O'Keefe, Liam McGovern, and they're going to be a team that are always thereabouts. They're always in the quarter final, always a tricky team to get over.
Cian?
Yeah, no, sure, they have two players around my age that I would have played with in hurling as well, Liam Shockman and Justin Moore. 2 very athletic people, and they love football as well. And we played Anne's actually in a practice game there last week, and it was just kind of to get going again in football for both teams, and they do look in good shape, in fairness to them. Now, they were missing D. O'Keefe and Liam Og obviously, but when they have them back along with Liam Shockman and Justin Moore driving them on, sure, they'll have 2 more engines to keep them going, like. So yeah, they'll be ones to look out for.
Yeah, the next team then in the group are the Sarsfields, and I suppose the Sarsfields has been a bit of a struggle for them in recent years. They kind of have been at the bottom end of things, but they're still in senior, they're still find a way to, I suppose, stay there. What are your thoughts, Cian?
Sure, the last time we were senior, unfortunately, Sarsfields put us down, and I think it was probably one of the worst football games ever seen, 3 to 4 points or something like that. So, no, look, they are struggling the last few years, but credit to them, they're after staying up. They're not going down. I know they're missing Richie Lawler and Conan Clancy. Not sure if it was to injury or what, but they're 2 big misses as well, because Richie actually scored a goal against us in that relegation final, and Cian will be thereabouts towards maybe the end of championship. So no, you can never write off Sarsfields. You don't know, they could pull off a couple of wins and get quarter final spot and drive on from there. You wouldn't know, so they would be one to look out for as well.
I forgot to mention Philly Cullen and Mikey Hanrahan, their 2 management. I've been told that Richie Lawler and Conal Clancy won't be playing, and that Lee Chin is not back yet, so whether that'll mean he'll be back at some stage or not, we're not sure. But what are your thoughts, Darragh?
We played Sarsfields last year in Banno actually, and I think it was only a kick the ball in the game near the end. They have some great young footballers, the likes of Alex Kirby, Luke Murphy, Darby Purcell is there as well. But when you're missing the likes of Chin, if Chin doesn't play, then it kind of puts them on the back for the small bit. But then they've shown Chin didn't play against us last year, and they really put up a strong fight against us. I think Conor Halligan played last year too. He's not around this year, he's in Dubai. So look, they're down a few, and if Luke Murphy's 100% fit as well, there was a rumour he wasn't 100% after the hurling. So if they get everyone together, they were very close to a quarter final spot last year, and it'd be great for them to get out of the group rather than being at the bottom end or something for a change.
Glynn-Barntown then, they're managed by Joe Hagan, who of course was the manager of the Starlights a few years ago when they won the championship. Jim McGovern and Willie Carley are alongside him. Players out, well, there's a bit of a list as there was for them in the hurling as well. I suppose a lot of them are the same lads. Matt Doyle, Shane Wild, Matthew Joyce, Rowan White and Murta Joyce. But they have a couple of players back or available this year. Aaron Breen, who was very good a couple of years ago, is back in the fold this year, I'm told. And Sean Cooney, who will probably feature as well this year. So your thoughts on Glynn-Barntown, Cian?
Yeah, sure, I know him very well. My mother's from there originally, so, and Willie's over him, like, so, but they're peppered with injuries, peppered with people going away, so they were on the back foot from the very start of the game the very start of the championship in hurling, and what a terrific win, in fairness to him, I'll tell him that, in the hurling. And looking at there, Sean Cooney, player in, that's a big boost, because he got 2 goals in the relegation final, and he's unbelievable at football. He beat twice the footballer as he is in hurler now, in fairness. And if they can keep him fit, and Aaron Byrne, if they keep them 2 fit, keep them going, then they're within the shout as well. I know they're missing players, but they'll be able to bring in lads as well. So. And
we're used to seeing Mark Fanning in the goal for hurling. I've been told he's going to be in the goal for the footballers.
Well, sure, you wouldn't know it, Mark. Mark, in fairness as well, he's a brilliant footballer as well. When we were up there 2 years ago, we played them in the prelim quarter final, and Mark got the score to bring it to extra time. Mark's brilliant on left and right footed, in fairness to him.
Your thoughts on Glynn, Darragh?
Just looking at the list of players that have gone away there, it showed in the hurling that they were down the relegation that it's hard for a club like Glynn to lose that many players, especially the likes of influential players such as Matt Doyle, who I think was actually our captain last year in the goal, with inter-county experience as well. He really set a platform to attack from the goal last year. But then again, as you said, if Mark Fanning goes in the goal, he's another asset that they might have added another string to their bow there. Rowan White again is a massive loss. He came home for the hurling, but I think he'll be a huge loss in the football. Glynn, again, we played him last year. I think we bet him they got a goal near the end to bring it back, and he was nearly 2 or 3 points in at the end. They're a tough team to play against, always fit, good running team. So I think Glynn might struggle a bit just with pure fact that there's so many players away from him.
And the fourth team then we're going to discuss is Bunclody. They're managed by Bartley Regan and Pat Rowe. Players out for them, I'm told Sean Kenny is going to be missing certainly for most of the group stages, I think, with a hand injury. Players in: Byrne, Cian Kavanagh and Owen Kelly are all back, and Martin O'Connor missed the inter-county season, but I'm told he might be back for some or maybe even all of the games for Bunclody, and that will be obviously a major boost for their chances there.
Yeah, obviously Martin is an exceptional footballer, and he missed a lot of the games last year. He missed the game against us, and had they had him that day, I think it could have been a different result on the day. But look, you mentioned Cian Kavanagh there. It's great to see Cian back in playing football after the time he's had, so it's great to see him back on the field. Look, Bunclody are always a team that are they're there all the time. They manage to get through the group, and again, none of the teams in senior football are easy to beat. Everyone is in around the same level. I think it's just on the day who turns up is going to win games against Bunclody, because they're really a dogged team and always stick in there till the end.
Your thoughts on Bunclody? 2 years ago they got to the semi-finals, had a good run. Last year maybe didn't quite go so well for them, Cian.
Yeah, no, look, they've been unfortunate, but I think they'll have a lot of preparation done for this year, since they finished 5th in the hurling. So yeah, they'll be definitely eyeing up the football, because I know that Martin O'Connor, he's a big loss if he isn't there for nearly every game, but it'd be good to get him in and out. And another player, Cian Regan, who's a very brilliant, talented footballer, in fairness to him. I think he's Bartley Regan's son. So no, you just have to look out for these teams. Like, I know they're newly promoted, but they've, like you said, semi-final 2 years ago, and they'll keep pushing. They could go one step further this year. You don't know.
Yeah, and as you mentioned there, Cian, it does make an awful difference, or maybe it can make an awful difference for the likes of Bunclody, who did finish 5th in their group. They've had the last 3 weeks to prepare football-wise, whereas when Darragh mentioned there that they've hardly picked up a football really because of the long run they had in the hurling.
Yeah. No, look, it's different for every team nearly. But look, James's Day, they're going to be under pressure now for the football, just because it's 8 weeks of hurling, not too much football done. But you look at Bunclody, you look at Glynn, they'd have an extra week as well. So you have to look out for these teams, because they'll be more prepared than most teams, and that's who I'll be looking out for the most in this group. Like, same with ours, you just have to look at who has the most preparation done. That's what it will come down to as well. So
yeah. And the final 2 teams then that we're going to discuss are Crossabeg-Ballymurn. They're managed by Peter Mernagh, Brendan Keogh and Niall MacDonald. They have a list of players out too that I'm told. Ben Turner, their usual goalkeeper, is working in England. David Keogh, Paddy Foley, Mark O'Connor, Owen O'Connor, Cian Kinloch and Paddy Devericks are all away. So that there's, I suppose, plenty of gaps to be filled there.
Oh yeah, again, it's similar to Glynn-Barntown. There's a list of lads there that can nearly field a team that are away. Look, yeah, Mr. Paddy Devericks obviously is going to be a huge loss. He's a big man around the middle. But when you have Conor Devericks and Ronan Devericks, you nearly wonder it'd be unfair if they had 3 of Devericks. You couldn't have all of them together. Again, David Keogh is a big man to be missing as well. But look, Crossabeg, similar to Bunclody, I think they're kind of a team that are always thereabouts. Like last year, I think Paddy Foley had a few great games near the start of the campaign. Wexford Park one day he kicked 5 points from centre forward. I don't know if centre forward or centre back, but he's going to be a huge loss for him too. So I think themselves and Glynn might just struggle in this group, I think. They
were very unlucky last year, Crossabeg. They had 5 points and they finished 5th in the group, and it looked for all the world, Cian, as though they were even contenders. They were missing a lot of lads for their games, and they were still competitive in them all and got 5 points and didn't qualify. Yeah, no, look, they were very unfortunate in fairness, but it's just, if you're looking at every game, it's basically on the day who wants it more. You can't, like they say, Castletown would be hot favourites in this group to top it, but Crossabeg, Bunclody, Glynn, Sars and Annans, they'll be all looking at Castletown to try beat the best, because that's, if you want to win it, that's who you have to beat, in fairness. And Crossabeg, same as Glynn, as Darragh said, they're peppered with injuries. Like Cian Kinloch is a brilliant footballer as well, but they still have a couple there that could cause damage, like Brodie Murphy, Oisin Foley, for example. Like, so they won't be too far away. They will be looking for definitely a quarter-final spot anyway. And the final team then are the county champions, who are managed this year by the same management team as last year, Jimmy Fogarty and Paul Garrigan. They have, I'm told, one player out, Colin Kennedy, who was centre back last year for them and had an exceptional year. But they have a inter-county footballer back in the shape of Jonathan Beelan, and Darragh, Jonathan was involved in the Wexford Senior Footballers towards the end of the season, and a big boost for Castletown to have him back.
Look, Jonathan came back and he missed a bit of football, but in training he was exceptional. He is a massive boot on him, can score from literally anywhere. Again, another addition as a free taker, as well as Darragh Brooks. Look, Castletown obviously huge favourites to win the competition again this year after their performances last year. When you have the likes of Darragh Brooks, that's a great somebody to have in your armoury. That's a cannon with a boot as well, you know. And you have Robbie Brooks, Bren Brosnan, Liam Coleman, obviously the Wexford Senior Football captain. Look, again, very, very difficult to beat, and when they become efficient up front, I think that they take a lot of beating.
And your thoughts on Castletown?
Sure, Castletown, in my opinion, would be the team to beat for all 11 other teams in this. So it's going to be, you'd be looking at Castletown compared to the rest in this group. They should be top in the group, or that's where I'd put them anyway. Like, they wouldn't have any weak person in that team at all. Like, they're just a strong physical outfit that'll just run at you. They'll destroy you if you give them the chance. If you're 5 minutes slack, they could be 2 goals up on you. So,
and if you look at the forwards that they could potentially put out, you've Jack Higgins, Robbie Brooks, maybe Conor Carty in the forwards like he was last year, Ben Brosnan, Jonathan Beelan. Sure, like, it's kind of like a star-studded forward line.
It is. It's like you need a man marker on every one of them, but they could do untold damage if you give them any space at all. Like, they can work together. It'll be very hard to stop them. In fairness, it will be very hard.
Brendan Halpin, another of course that I didn't mention, but last year you were in the same group as Castletown, Darragh. They took a little bit of a while to warm into the championship.
Yeah, look, they beat us in the group stage last year. Now I think it was kind of the last group game. I think both teams were kind of through, so it was a nothing game up in Oilgate. I think it was actually played. But then we got them in the semi-final, and they actually Ben Brosnan was sent off in the first half, and they had a lead on us at that stage, 3-point lead. We could never ever get it back. We found it very hard to break them down. They were a very defensive team, but then when they got the ball, they broke in numbers, and it really caused real damage to us. Look, we hope that we learned from last year and that we can go one step further and get to the final this year. But look, again, I would say Castletown are hot favourites, and they're the hot favourites for a reason.
So the final 2 things then, of the 6 teams in the group, St Anne's, Sarsfields, Glynn, Bunclody, Crossabeg and Castletown, who's the 4 you're going to pick to qualify here, Cian?
I'll back St Anne's, I'll actually put Bunclody, Castletown, and I'll put Glynn in there as well also.
And your 4, Darragh?
I'd say Castletown, the Anns, Sarsfields and Crossabeg, I think.
Righto, and then the 3 pairings at the weekend. The first game is St Anne's and the Sarsfields. Who are you going for there, Darragh?
I'll just give it. No, I call it a draw. A draw.
Cian?
I'm going to go with the Anns on this one. I think they're going to be a strong outfit this year. They're a team to look out for. They have very mobile players that can bring the ball far, and yeah, I'll back the Anns for this one.
And I'll back the Anns for this one as well. They were last year's semi-finalists. They were heavily beaten in the semi-final, but I think they're a bit better than the Sarsfields. I think it'll be a St Anne's victory there. And the second game, well, it's actually the first game that's taken place. It's on Friday night, Glynn and Bunclody. Who's going to win this one, Cian?
Yeah, it's a bit up in the air, this one. I would competing with the players missing now, I would probably put Bunclody ahead of Glynn for this game, but it definitely will be tight. It could be a draw, only be a couple, 2 or 3 points in this game, I think. Anyway, definitely to Bunclody.
I'm similar enough to Cian there. I think Bunclody just have that small bit. If Martin O'Connor's home for the game especially, then I would say Bunclody just about.
And I'm going to disagree with the lads and go with Glynn-Barntown just about, but I do think it might be a very close game. And the final game then, Crossabeg and Castletown, Darragh.
Look, again, Castletown I think are going to win this game, simply because of the firepower they have. And look, they're finished 5th in their hurling group as well, so I don't think hurling mightn't even stop them training football in the first place. But I think they have a lot of work done, and I'm just going to go Castletown.
Cian?
Yeah, I'll agree with Darragh on this one. I think Castletown could win it comfortably enough. Like, you can't be really affording to missing any players against a calibre of Castletown anyway. Like, 5 or 6 players missing against Castletown, like, you're going to be up against it, never mind with a full team. So yeah, I'll definitely put Castletown comfortably anyway.
And I'm going to make it a full house for Castletown, but regardless of what happens, let's hope we have 6 good games in the Dominic Smith Electrical Senior Football Championship ahead of the weekend.